Good evening, everybody. For those people who don't know me, right now I'm the chairman of New Horizons Incorporated. In a few minutes, you'll be getting a new chairman. My 2-year term is up. I've enjoyed being chairperson. Now I'm gonna introduce our CEO in a few minutes, Carol Fitzgerald. But I have to talk about Carol. She's done a phenomenal job of working on our bylaws this year, and she's done a phenomenal job trying to bring money into New Horizons plus Cherrybrook, and working on Middlebury. She's and the rest of her team's done a phenomenal job. So it's been a real privilege, and I'm glad to see so many people here. So I turn it over to Carol Fitzgerald. Carol.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you for your leadership over the last couple of years, and I know that will continue on into the future. You have been a vital part of all the changes and improvements and support at New Horizons, Inc. That means Cherrybrook, it means New Horizons Village, and it means Middlebury. So thanks for all your efforts, Gary.
You're welcome.
Welcome. So it's been way too long, over 2 years since I've seen all your smiling faces. So we're just so thrilled to have you here tonight. We have our friends virtually as well. We thought it was important to give options to individuals based on their needs and their comfort level. So we're doing this. Hopefully, give us have a little patience, I guess. This is uncharted territory, but we're excited about moving forward this evening. I'd like to start by asking that we maybe take a moment of silence to remember the 1 million individuals that were lost to COVID. We all know that COVID affected many of our residents, particularly at Cherrybrook. We will not forget that we lost 22 lives, 22 friends, family members, and good citizens, and we all carry that in our hearts. This is a different format, as I mentioned, than it has been in years past. I hope you enjoy it, the raffles, the snacks. Hopefully you find it informative. And there's a takeaway tonight. We hope there's a takeaway, and it's talking about transportation. We hope the dialogue continues long after you leave this room tonight. It's an issue that's bigger than New Horizons. I'll leave it at that because we will talk about that later in the event. So I will start with the fun stuff. Financial summary. The good news is that New Horizons received yet another clean audit. We don't take it for granted, and Chris Murray, our CFO, and her team certainly see to it that we are accountable, transparent, and all that's necessary in getting our annual clean audit. So we thank her and her team for that. We survived COVID financially. For the year, our fiscal year ending which ended September 2021, we had a net income, operating net income of $1,225,000. I think it's important to say, after mentioning that we have committed to diversifying revenue sources to supplement our government funding. If we had relied solely on government funding, that number would look much different. So we're very happy to report that for our fiscal year ending 2021. Thought I would kind of just show things in a different format. Revenues by type. So as you can see on the chart here, oops. Okay, that doesn't work now. Interesting. Okay. The patient services revenues take up about 50% of the chart, meaning that's 50% of our income, and that comes from Cherrybrook Healthcare Center. 25% approximately is from New Horizons Village, and another 25% is from other revenue sources, construction, PPP money, PPE, Sunshine Wheels, and our Middlebury facility. Just to get a sense of how all the different divisions play in on the revenue side. On the expense side, a little bit different, but it makes sense. Cherrybrook expenses are about 2/3 of the expenses, and 1/3 is Village and VCA. The other Middlebury and Sunshine Wheels expenses are so low, they really don't even impact this graph very much. They're less than 1/3, or less than 1% actually. Well, now we've entered into a new fiscal year, and we are 6 months into our new fiscal year as of March 31st, 2022. And what I will say is that our net income is right in line with our budget year to date, and it is at $321,000 and change. So we're happy that we are on target with our budget for this current fiscal year. I planned on going through each division to kind of give everybody an update where we stand right now and just give you some good information on each division. I'm going to start with New Horizons Village, and I'd like to start by asking the New Horizons Village staff to please rise if you can. Scattered across the room. Obviously, I can't take the time to name everybody. Carol Kirkwood, our village manager, and her team, in the VCA office, in transportation office, in the facilities office, in the finance office under Chris. I can't speak highly. Obviously, these numbers, these accomplishments, everything that happens here could not happen at the village without this staff. We really have dedicated, committed people who want to come to work every day, who came through COVID despite their personal stories or issues, and continue to do so. So my gratitude, obviously, to the staff here. All right, updates. So there's so many positives. Where do I start? I really tried to shrink things down to manageable, bite-sized pieces. The rehab work that we've done over the last couple years has been completed. All that's left are punch list items. The construction of our new 22-unit building is underway, and if you've driven by, you saw some framing and all the foundations in, and it's really coming to fruition. It's kind of hard to believe. It's been a long time coming. We've worked with Stanley Black & Decker and Ion Bank to create videos to tell the story of New Horizons Village. And as the story gets out, the people come. They come financially, they come to support us, they come to be partners and friends with us. So we're really, really appreciative of those types of supports and the messages that are getting out through the videos. Our programs are coming back. Adaptive yoga, art therapy, meditation, things that people, I think, long for, given that there has been an incredible amount of isolation over the last couple of years. Everybody is welcoming having things to do with human beings around them. And we're doing it cautiously, as we're trying to do tonight with masks, with social distancing. We are moving forward with smart home technology. We know we have a long way to go with respect to technology. It's certainly something that does not come cheaply, but we have obtained some funding and definitely have brought some kind of remote activated blinds for some individuals, and it's moving on throughout the campus. And we're looking for other forms of technology that would assist our tenants. We're working for job connections, possible job connections for our tenants who may be interested in obtaining some type of paid work. We're working with Futures Inc., who manages the gift shop and the restaurant at New Britain General Hospital, and there's opportunities for there. We've also spent some time working with some other organizations such as CW Resources, and hope to bring them here on campus to provide some employment. So those are all the things in the work that, stay tuned, we'll talk more about in the future. And as an overall technology question, we're working to create a new plan. We're working with the Hartford Foundation and their consultants, and really are looking to create quite a very relevant and up to date, I will say, technology plan for New Horizons Village. Well, with positive things also come challenges. And many of the challenges that we faced are post-pandemic related. And I say post-pandemic with caution because we're really not out of the pandemic here. We deal with people who, in some instances, are vulnerable and certainly don't need to be exposed to COVID. But we are trying to move forward. Staffing and PCA shortages are something that really plague us. We are constantly looking for ways to entice people to come and work for us. We have a lot of different ideas and programs and creative enticements. So that's something that's on the forefront of our minds. Skyrocketing in costs. So I said inflationary environment. Everybody here knows when you look in your pocketbook, right? So gas, oils, vehicles, salaries, benefits, I mean, you name it. The percentage increases have been outrageous. And remember, we don't get comparative increases from the state. In fact, we don't get any. So we have to find creative ways to fund those things, because the reality is that's how much it costs at the end of the day to operate. So those are the challenges, and we deal with the challenges. And again, our financials show that we're hanging on strongly. Frozen state funding goes along with the issue here of always remembering that we have to continue to diversify our revenue sources. For all of you who drove through our campus a bit, our construction summary. We, as I mentioned, just punch list remaining for our rehab projects. And as you can see, we had several sources of funding. That was an $11 million project. The campus from the outside definitely is remarkably changed. We no longer have to worry about peeling wood and porches that are, really in rough shape, paving that is not appropriate for wheelchair usage, lighting that was insufficient. All of that has been remedied by the rehabilitation project. But now we move on to the new construction. Work began in January. It's expected to be completed by February of 2023. In total, the two construction projects cost about $20 million, most of it funded through the state, but also some other creative opportunities and tax credits and energy incentives, CDGB funds, OPM dollars, you name it. We found every nickel we could find somewhere to make this happen. The new construction is going to consist of 4 buildings. I'm going to show a little kind of bird's eye view. So if you take a look at that green section on the top left-hand corner, that is new parking and very improved drainage. There were a lot of water issues there that had to be rectified. The purple lines represent new fire lanes and emergency access, so you can get into the inner circle of the property. And the yellow-greenish color are actually the 4 buildings. And you can see they run almost parallel to the community building. So the first building, which looks like the largest, is 11 apartments. Then you have a smaller one that's 3 apartments, another one that's 5, and then the last one is 3 apartments. In total, 22 units, all single units. These are some pictures I had someone snap the other day, so you can see the foundations are in and utilities are in, and now we're starting upper left-hand corner. You'll see it's kind of a little blurry because it wasn't a great day, but there's actually framing that's going up right now. If you look at it today, there's a lot more framing. So the external kind of structure will kind of take form very soon, and then there'll be the slow process of all the internal workings. All buildings are designed with the highest level of ADA compliance, and we have architects that specialize in that, as well as state DOH personnel that oversee all the submittals. Cherrybrook. If we could take a moment also to have our Cherrybrook staff stand up. You guys are all clustered together there. I am so excited to say that there is a new leadership at Cherrybrook. John Zazzaro is our new administrator there. He started, I guess, the fall of last year. He is highly respected in his field. He has assembled a very strong team, many of whom you see here tonight. I think Jennifer's here, she's the ADNS, and Stacy's here, our social worker, Kelly, marketing and admissions, and I think Ann is hiding there. Yep, she's our therapy manager. So it's just an incredibly strong team. Since I've been here, this is, I think, the strongest leadership team that we've had. Really impressed with where we're going, and I see good things ahead. Coming off very difficult times for a nursing home. We all know that the pandemic is still at the forefront of operations in nursing homes, and there's so many mandates given by the state that it's still an incredibly changing environment, and we're still on our toes every minute, and I know that's how they operate at Cherrybrook. Make good decisions and moving forward. They're offering many CNA classes, which is resulting in the hiring of new committed staff. When I say many, every time I talk to John, there's another class starting. So it's our way of making sure that we have the appropriate CNAs working and the staff that we need. I know Kelly is working with others on the new marketing plan to address admissions challenges at Cherrybrook. And we're working to provide services that differentiate Cherrybrook from other skilled nursing facilities. And one of those things that we're working on right now is lymphedema therapy. That's something that you don't see at every skilled nursing facilities, but there's a lot of other things being discussed. So again, with the strong infrastructure that we have at Cherrybrook, the vaccination has certainly given us hope for a brighter future. The horrific illnesses, hospitalizations, and deaths that we saw at the beginning of the pandemic, thankfully, are not happening now because of the vaccination. The visitations are better now, so there's a little bit more social interaction going on. And again, with the strength there, still comes challenges. And again, it's staffing shortages, although we're addressing some of those. It's the mandated changes that happen constantly, and the sense of stability. And Middlebury, our little quiet housing complex that rounds out our continuum of care. We've done about $167,000 of capital improvements at Middlebury in the last year. Doors, windows, countertops, walkways, HVAC upgrades. So they're in good shape. We've been lucky enough to get all those upgrades funded. And we are actually looking forward to having a celebration with the Middlebury tenants post-renovations on June 4th, coming up soon. These tenants don't get support services like our other divisions do. And generally, staff is not around, so we're going to join together and take the time to enjoy all that Middlebury has to offer, and especially the tenants. So again, it's an effort to kind of say hello again after everybody has been isolated. Well, a good part of what happened over the last less than 12 months since last summer was a new 2021 to 2024 strategic plan. The board committed many hours to developing a new strategic plan. The plan was approved by the full board and is a blueprint for a good deal of our efforts for the next few years. It doesn't just gather dust on a shelf. We literally, as leaders and staff at New Horizons, Cherrybrook, the village, look at it, use it, and make many important decisions based on the board's vision. We're only in year one of the plan and have worked tirelessly to achieve the goals in the plan. So, goal number 1, adapt to a changing environment and emerging new models for integrated housing at the village. Many things are happening to achieve this goal. We've connected with DSS and DDS to discuss inclusive community living and how our model could serve their clients. We've met with State Educational Resource Commission to develop relationships with future clients. We continue to maintain strong relationships with our state legislators. In fact, Senator Slapp, Representative D'Amico, who I believe is virtually joining us, and Senator Witkos, all have been avid supporters of New Horizons, and we communicate the needs of our clients that we serve to them. We've cultivated more major donors, foundations, etc., by bringing awareness to our important mission. We've reviewed possibility of expanding services at Cherrybrook. We've created partnerships with employment resources I had mentioned previously. We've shared and promoted core values with residents, tenants, and staff. And again, so much of this is relationship-based. We spend so much time now creating relationships. It's important for all of us in our life, and it's important as an organization. Some of the new relationships we've built this year are with Yale Graduate School. They have a social impact consulting program. They'll be coming up with a report for us soon, and we'll be happy to share that with you. We are partnering with HARC, with CCARC, with Futures Inc., as I had mentioned, Chapel Haven, DDS, Dr. Deckers and Lynn Kozowicz at UConn, CW Resources, Stanley Black & Decker Accessibility, Accessible Technology, Ion Bank and their marketing team, Doncaster, Seabury, Countryside Manor, Yukon Cares Program, Dignity Grows, and Comcast My Abilities Group. Again, we continue to seek out like-minded organizations that we can partner with. We continue to get the mission out so that people understand who we are and know how they can be part of our community, and also to make sure that those that need what New Horizons needs at either Cherrybrook or at New Horizons Village are aware of what we have to offer and can come here and enjoy our services. So goal number 2, Cherrybrook Healthcare Center. Position Cherrybrook to be a healthcare facility of choice. What are we doing to move towards that goal? Developing internal audits where necessary to improve quality of care, developing a standardized training process to keep current with changing requirements and regulations, which we all know are ever-changing. We're promoting our core values again there, developing key metrics for tracking purposes and quality measures, creating Cherrybrook testimonials for marketing purposes by telling our residents' stories from their perspectives. Bringing on excellent staff who are resident-centric and team players. And creating a designated short-term rehab area to meet clients' needs and increase census. And as I mentioned, working on specialties that we could offer that other skilled nursing facilities cannot. Goal number 3, visibility and awareness building. At both Cherrybrook and New Horizons Village, we're working on a new marketing plan. We're evaluating what we are currently doing and identifying needs. How can we change according to what the needs are today? We're looking for opportunities to efficiently and effectively market both New Horizons Village and Cherrybrook. We're putting more emphasis on internal and external communications. We're branding all of our divisions in order to leverage them collectively. We're inviting staff members to visit our other departments and facilities to promote unity between all divisions. We are one New Horizons, Inc. Financial stability and sustainability. Well, you all know what that means, right? So we've moved forward and created a planned giving program with the help of a consultant and Attorney Cohen, who was given tirelessly to help us move forward with that. So keep posted. There's opportunities to take a look at our website soon and get involved in that. We brought on new board members with experience in fundraising and networking. It was an organic process, and we welcomed 2 new members who bring great experience and commitment to our mission. Patricia Kinney and Ann Schneider-Reed. Or did I just... I apologize, Ann. Ann has extensive experience in marketing, and she is viewing virtually also. And Patricia also virtually attending this meeting is very skilled in development and both of them come with board experience, and we're really excited to have them. We're cultivating existing individual donors, more tours, newsletters, events, etc. It's all about our relationships. As I keep saying, that word probably pops up quite a bit, and we're committed to spending that time. We're creating more testimonials, stories, videos. We want the people who live at New Horizons Village and Cherrybrook to speak of their experiences. We're creating a designated short-term rehab area. I think I mentioned that, to increase census, and we take responsibility for financial growth. We must take responsibility. We can't sit back and wait for money to fall into our hands. We cannot continue to expect full support from the government. Human resources and governance. These are board and staff-related goals. As I mentioned, we're seeking out board members, and we were looking for certain skill sets that were lacking on the board that could help us as an organization grow. Medical, skilled nursing facility expertise, development, technology, marketing, public policy, and philanthropic contributors. As I mentioned a little while ago, we've already filled some of those needs, but we still are working on completing all of the goals with respect to bringing on new board members. We're making conscious efforts to bring diversity to the board. We're establishing relationships with professional training organizations for hard-to-fill positions. We're reviewing internal equity and market data regularly for competitive compensation. And we're bringing on board members who have specific needed skills, as I mentioned, that we are delighted to have a couple new ones already. And the last goal for this particular strategic plan is operational effectiveness and work environment. We're bringing individuals from all department areas into management meetings for two-way communication so we can all learn from each other. We're developing an intranet for staff members for effective communications. We're rolling out the strategic plan to staff for participation, input, and buy-in. We're great when we share ideas. We're working collectively and efficiently, and we're recognizing good creative ideas that help us work smarter and provide solutions. Where would we be without our supporters? Many of whom are here tonight, all of whom, everybody here is a supporter. This year, we have 40 new individual supporters. That may not sound like a lot, but to us, that is a lot. We're happy to say that. And these are people who we spend the time and who really care about New Horizons. So we think these are individuals who will be our supporters for years to come. We received approximately $882,000 in funding support. That's not government grants. That is basically just foundations, individual donors, etc. I want to just mention the Strawberry Festival, which we all know is coming up very soon in June. And we've already received $55,000 in sponsorships. For those who are familiar with what we normally raise in sponsorships, normally it's about $30,000, so we've almost doubled that amount this year. We're very happy to say that. And I also want to talk about Deborah. Deborah is a new individual donor. One day, Stephanie called me and said, we have a $5,000 check from a woman named Deborah. I won't give her last name. She's very humble and doesn't want to be recognized publicly. Her husband has MS. She lives in Farmington, in our town. She had never heard of us. She heard of us because of the Ion Bank commercial that plays on many of the networks, and said, oh my goodness, that place looks very interesting. I think I'll research it. And she did, and she decided to write a check to us. So again, the relationships, the exposures, the visibility really actually translate into support. We're spending a great deal of time on relationship building. I think we have a video, Steph. We're going to move on to Sunshine Wheels. We're all here to talk about transportation.
Sunshine Wheels provides wheelchair-accessible transportation, which is meeting an important need for seniors and those with disabilities. Congratulations, Sunshine Wheels. It's very well deserved that you've been named VAO's #1 medical provider.
I'd like to keep you until I leave this earth.
I'm really happy that we have Sunshine Wheels. The drivers do a great job because it's not an easy job. We're really fortunate to have it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Great job.
My mom had her leg amputated. She was needing to go to the doctor frequently, so I felt like I was stuck. I'm like, what do I do? Because I can't get my mother. She has one leg, you know? I mean, I can't transport her myself. How I learned about Sunshine Wheels was actually seeing your van around. They were so great. They're like, oh, of course, yeah. Oh, we can get her in tomorrow, sure. Took so much pressure off of me, the panic of having to find someone to transport her. I checked in and I'm like, so how'd it go? Oh, the driver was so nice. Oh, it was great.
Congratulations, and hope you can stay with New Horizons forever.
Thank you for being an advocate for accessibility. Sunshine Wheels has changed my life.
So Sunshine Wheels came about in 2019 because our tenants and residents at Cherrybrook and New Horizons Village were not receiving safe and reliable transportation to their non-emergent medical appointments. We heard horror story after horror story, and it was clear that New Horizons, who had great experience in accessible transportation, needed to be part of the solution. Transportation is a critical support service that allows our residents to live full, healthy lives, and if you can't get to your doctor's appointments, how can you do that? Oops, ahead of myself. So, it's a social enterprise. This is a way for New Horizons to provide much-needed services while receiving some income that will supplement increased costs, that will supplement the fact that state funding has been frozen since 2013. It really is a win-win situation. We have been very successful. We have had total revenues since inception of approximately $700,000. We're just about approaching that number. Of course, it's accessible transportation, and thanks to Sunshine Wheels supervisor, Aisha Carter, and magic happens every day with her transportation department. They manage to get people all throughout the greater Hartford area, and beyond in some cases, to critical medical appointments, and then others who need transportation for other particular purposes to live full lives. We are proud to say that Sunshine Wheels was recently ranked #1 top veil provider. That's out of 72 providers. We are the only nonprofit provider in that group. I think there's a relationship between that. We care mostly about customer service. It's in line with our mission. We are not profit-based, although certainly we need the funds to operate Sunshine Wheels, but customer service is the #1 most important thing to us in operating Sunshine Wheels. Sunshine Wheels is bigger than New Horizons, Inc. It's a statement to serving the needs of anyone needing accessible, reliable transportation. And I think Marissa said it well in explaining that. And I'm hoping that the takeaway tonight is to build awareness for the needs of those with disabilities. For anyone here who does not live in our community, that's the message. They're underserved and frankly discriminated against, especially when it comes to accessible transportation or transportation in general. Doesn't everyone deserve access to all that life has to offer? So please let us keep in mind the needs of those individuals in all aspects of our business and lives. It's amazing what each and every one of us can do in this area. And as Marissa said, let us be advocates for accessibility. And thank yous. So many thank yous are necessary tonight. Thank you to staff and facilities that helped us get everything together for the meeting itself. And certainly the board, great supporters. I couldn't ask for a better board to work with on a daily basis. Anytime I pick up the phone and ask for help, I get it, generously, all the time. They worked tirelessly for the strategic plan. They revised the bylaws. And again, they're here for me any day. I do want to say goodbye, and we hope to do something in September, so it's not forgotten, but goodbye, and thank you to Eric Daniels, who was our board member, chair, and vice chair many of those years for 25 years. Again, we'll honor him in September, but he has taken a judgeship position for the state of Connecticut, so we're very proud of that and him. Wish him the best of luck in his future in that area. And the staff, the supporters, government, funders, friends, families, facilities, again, for helping us put this together tonight. But most importantly, to our tenants, our PCAs, our residents who teach us, who inspire us, and who guide us each and every day in serving our mission. I think we want to move to the next section of our meeting. We are honored to have a motivational speaker tonight. Dave Stevens. What would you have done if you had been born without legs and put up for adoption at birth? Would you have become the only college football player with a disability and with this type of disability in NCAA history? Would you have been good enough to try out for the Dallas Cowboys? Would you have become the only professional baseball player in sports history, starting games at second base and even pinch hitting in a game for Darryl Strawberry? Remarkable. How about working 37 years in sports television, including winning 7 Emmys during his 20-year career at ESPN? These are just a few of the amazing things that Dave Stevens has done, even having been born a congenital amputee. If you don't believe any of this, Dave is here to speak to you about his experiences. So, I give you a motivational speaker, philanthropist, professor, and TV host. Please welcome Mr. Dave Stevens.
So hello everybody, my name is Dave Stevens and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me. To all the board members, thank you for having me be a part of what you guys do, and to our esteemed panel tonight, boy, you're in for a real treat when I start grilling you guys. So, but no, it's just, it's nice to be able to have a home gig, and I live in Bristol. I've lived in this state for about 27 years. I came here from Minnesota in 1995, but you know, she talked a little bit about my life, and I know you're kind of figuring out going, how is that even possible? So what I'd like to do right now is take you on a little journey with my life and kind of show you what I've done. Obviously, I was born in 1966, but put up for adoption, strike one. Born without legs, strike two. And then the family that adopted me, well, they were very poor. He was a World War II veteran and a loving housewife, and they adopted me out of foster care. And they took me in and raised me and instilled in me that I could be just like everybody else. They didn't hold me back. They didn't tell me I was handicapped. They didn't tell me I was disabled. So I just lived a normal life. I wore artificial legs at a young age and started moving around on crutches and what was like stilts, because I thought I had to be up as tall as everybody to be equal, like you leggies that are out there. I call you leggies if you have 2 legs. But, you know, from a young age, I started performing for the Shriners and helping them to raise money for crippled children and all of the things that they did, the initiatives, which led to me getting opportunities in my life, living a normal life, being a Cub Scout, just kind of growing up and going through grade school, wearing ugly shirts to dances and stuff in the 80s like that. But, you know, we were poor. And my family, I didn't realize it at the time, but we moved around a lot because we were so poor. And the last place I lived in was this house in Whitman, Arizona. And this is what that town looks like. It looks like a disaster area. That was the one-room house that I lived in. And I didn't have a bedroom. We put up a refrigerator and an area where I could kind of have a bed. And a couple of years ago, I took my 3 sons there. And my oldest son, Brady, said, "Dad, why did you choose to live here?" And I said, "Well, Brady, I didn't choose to live here, but I could choose where I wanted to end up being." And that's when I decided to turn my disability into my ability. And I started playing sports. I started playing all the sports that you leggies and everybody else played. I started playing high school football, you know, and going out there and making tackles in front of my parents and letting them see that I could do just like everybody else. And because I was successful at football, I'm like, hey, I can play baseball. I can do things like everybody else. I can wrestle. So I joined the wrestling team. I became the 98-pound state champion, learning to use my advantage to your disadvantage, because I knew to do against guys without legs. Guys with legs didn't know what to do against me. So I had that advantage, which you wouldn't think somebody with my situation would have. And it led to so many accolades and things where people started hearing about this little kid without legs in Arizona. And it helped lead me to a TV show called That's Incredible. And by playing baseball and playing in the outfield and running the bases on my arms, it wasn't adaptive sports. It wasn't anything but playing against the best people in sports, because that's what I had to do to compete. That's what I had to do to become an athlete. Play in the outfield, start at second base, do all those things that everybody else does when they play sports. And because of that, I took it to the next level, playing college football at Augsburg College in Minnesota. This is me sacking a quarterback and causing a fumble in an NCAA college football game. And because of that, that led to a tryout with the Dallas Cowboys, if you can believe it. So I flew down to Dallas, and there I am in the old stadium, much younger looking and better looking in those days, a few pounds ago. But again, out there with these other athletes trying for a professional football team. I obviously didn't make the team, but still to get to that level, that dream that I'd had of those competitive sports. And my dream as a kid, two things: to be in professional baseball and to be on TV. And that other dream of professional baseball took place in St. Paul in 1996 when I started at second base for the St. Paul Saints, leading off games, playing second base, playing in the outfield with that guy right there, Darryl Strawberry. You can see him right there. And we were teammates. And again, another dream come true, to play with Jack Morris and Darryl Strawberry in professional baseball. But my serious career took over, and that's when I got the call to go to ESPN. I worked at ESPN, the worldwide leader, for 20 years, and I continued to travel around and do things, taking batting practice, working out with teams, putting on baseball camps for disabled kids that take me around the world. But I also get to do stuff on TV. I'm now in front of the microphone for a channel called the Disability Channel, and I get to interview some of the biggest stars like Aaron Rodgers and Rob Gronkowski and Mike Trout and some of these guys. It takes me to the stadiums on the field where the players are all like, wow, there's a dude without legs on our court. And they come up and talk to me, and they really open up. And it gives me another advantage where other guys don't get interviews. I get these guys to talk. I get them to come up to me and realize that, wow, this guy's real unique, and I'm going to spend some time with him. So I get to hang out with a guy and get to know Rob Gronkowski and become friends with him and see him at Super Bowls. But like I said, the things that I do now, putting on sports camps for disabled kids, teaching a kid with no arms and no hands how to hit a baseball so he can be just like everybody else. Or how about my friend Lily, who's blind? She wanted to learn how to play baseball too. So I took her, and here's a guy without legs leading a girl who is blind around the bases, trying to hit a ball and experience what it's like to just be an athlete, to just be normal, because society labels us as having a disability. But now I'm also a professor at Quinnipiac University. I've started Ability Media, which we do stories. We create content by people with disabilities for disabilities. And it leads to some great opportunities, like me a couple of weeks ago being on The View as a model, if you can believe that. My fat old butt out there posing in adaptive clothing, because Runway of Dreams that I'm on the board of has created adaptive clothing for people with disabilities. Young, old, all of you like that, with all kinds of zippers and things like that. So, my life continues to be amazing. And that's why I just wanted to take a little bit of time tonight to talk to you folks about what I've done, how I got there, and how important it is that my life parallels what a lot of these people in this room do, because it's about being able to live a normal life, to be able to fit into society and feel like you can give back, to be able to get up in the morning in your own bed and be able to give yourself breakfast, or to be able to have a bus take you somewhere for a doctor's appointment, a job interview, to go see your mom and dad. And that's why it's important not only to showcase what New Horizons is doing, but to talk about those people that do the day-to-day jobs, the people at this facility that not only drive the bus, but are here as caretakers, that are here to help you guys with all of your problems. This is such an amazing place, and my life has been about individuality and being able to achieve my normal. When you see a little kid without legs back in the day, what kind of future do you think that they thought I would have? When I was born in 1966, they still institutionalized people like us. They would just go, you know what, they're no good to society, let's just put them in this little hospital. And what would my life have been like that? So I'm so lucky, I'm so blessed. I'm glad I don't have legs. I don't know what my life would have been like any other way. I might have been a ballerina, I might have been a garbage man, I don't know. But because I didn't have legs, that instilled in me that I had to become more. Because I realized that every day of my life, every day of many of your lives in this auditorium, we are stared at every single day. We are judged by our outside rather than judged by our inside. And what we need to do is react to society and show them we do have value. We are just like you, but this is my normal. That's your normal. That's your normal. If you looked at my resume before I got here and I didn't tell you I didn't have legs, and you looked at the resume of a guy that was a 3-sport athlete, tried out for the Cowboys, played in the outfield with Barry Bonds, has 7 Emmy Awards, you'd be like, that's a tall, good-looking dude. But because society labels me as handicapped or disabled. When you throw in that part that I don't have legs, it's too mind-blowing for the world. And it's not just because I've overcome to play sports, is that everybody with a disability or a handicap has a value on this planet. You know, we need to make the world understand that we do have value. Maybe we can't get there, so we need the bus services to get that. We need the opportunities to get to a job interview. You know, the world needs to open up. Our military, you know, why couldn't somebody with a physical challenge work in the military? Their minds work. They could create software that creates technical advances for our military. Just because you can't carry a backpack doesn't mean you can't contribute into society. So despite my advancing years and my age of 56 years old, I know what your battles are like on this day-to-day level. I've had three shoulder surgeries, rotator cuff torn once. This one has now been torn 3 times. I don't know what I'm going to do in my future. I just recently had a COVID booster shot that attacked my rotator cuff. So now I have more pain than I had prior to having it torn. And so try imagine living your life with one arm and no legs. But I can still get around. And I'm still going to do what I can do as long as I can. Because I have to. I have to show people that we have value. The handicapped world, the disabled world, and don't get me started on those terms. Disabled is a car, it's not a human being. And handicap is a good term for golf, but it's not a good term for life. You know, I'm limb different. You know, physically challenged, whatever you want to do. Don't get me started about the soapbox for the Special Olympics, because if I had an athlete that had worked that hard, I wouldn't want him to be called special. They're heroic. So it's like we have all these terminology and things and labels, but what we need to do as the minority, we are the biggest minority in the world, yet we have the smallest voice. You know, that term diversity has changed what it means. It's now become a color. It's now become more about your sexual orientation, and we're left in the dark again. And we talk about inclusion, but again, we're left out of those conversations. So that's why what happens here at New Horizons is so important for your independence, but it's important to get that word out there that one, this place exists for so many people that need those chances, and two, we need funding, we need help. You know, you're building brand new buildings, but you need to continue to make sure that the houses are up to par for people with special needs or special circumstances. And that's why when you guys come here and support, you have to continue to get the word out. When they talk about social media, if things are going great there, make sure you tag it, make sure you share it, make sure you share and tag all of the facilities that are a part of this. You get a good ride, thank that service, thank that driver, but tag them. You all do social media, some do Instagram, some do Facebook, but as much as you can do to continue to support the efforts of New Horizons and everything that they're doing, you've got to do that, because we are the smallest voice with the biggest group of people. And on any, you know, unlike being black or unlike being Muslim or unlike having your religion, you can't just become black, you can't become Jewish, but you can become disabled at any given moment. You can join our club at any given time. So it's important to have those kind of facilities when you do join our club. If you have a stroke, you get diabetes, you get cancer, you know, we'll welcome you with open arms, but once you're one of us, you have to fight for what we stand for. So as I wrap up here, I just want to make sure that everyone understands that, yeah, I'm unique. You know, not everybody can get up and go do the same things I do, but my philosophy still transcends to that same thing. It's important to continue to have goals in life, whether you have a limb difference, a physical disability, unseen disabilities. It's important as you advance in years to have those goals and continue to try to achieve those goals. Volunteer, pick up a hobby. Do something that you can contribute to. You know, get a job, get an online job, do something, but set those goals so you're not just sitting around in life letting life pass you by. Because I wish I could continue to do the things that I've done in the past, and I've got to change them as my life changes. You know, I get curveballs thrown at me every single day of my life. You know, just yesterday, I know you guys in the back can't see, but if you can see my ugly deformed nose now, I got bit by a dog the other night. And so, you know, it was bleeding, and I'm like, my beautiful face, my beautiful face. But I was going to tell a funny story that I was at a dog show, and that I said something offensive to one of the dogs, and the husband of the dog came on stage and bit me, but I didn't think that would work given the Will Smith situation. So, but you know, I try to make light of my disability. I try to poke fun of that elephant in the room. I try to raise awareness to showcase, again, as I said, everybody's staring at me, I might as well give them a show. I know I can't pick my nose and people will say something, but having 3 teenage boys, I've had that challenge in life of not only being a parent with a disability, trying to give them a normal life, but having those kids and their friends see that their dad has a disability, and the pressure of, you know, what people talk about and stuff like that. And my kids, they've rolled with the punches, and they understand that my differences don't define me, that have made me a better father for them. So as I wrap up, and I'll take a few questions if we have some time before we get to our panel discussion, but you know, just make sure that you go out and live every day. Utilize those gifts that you have, and don't sit around and feel sorry for yourself, because others will feel sorry for you and judge you that way. Go out and do as much as you can, you know, and continue to try to achieve those little goals and those little steps. Because if I can do it with what little I've had, there's no excuse for anybody out there not to go out and try to achieve those goals. So thank you guys for your time tonight. If we have any questions, I can take a couple before we start, if anybody has any questions. And if before you leave this room, I forgot to say, please, it's important for me to continue to share my message. So if you could follow Dave Stevens Speaks on all social media platforms, just type in Dave Stevens and Speaks, and it'll take you to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I even do TikTok, if you guys are one of those TikTok videos. So I'm trying to be hip, you know, I'll dance, I'll spin a little bit and do some moves or something crazy out there. But if anybody has any questions or anything real quick, want to pop up?
Yeah, we'll take questions.
Just scream it. No? If not?
I did just want to say last call for the raffle tickets, but we will entertain questions for anyone who has questions for Dave.
All right, no questions. Normally the kids ask, how do you go to the bathroom or something crazy like that. Oh, yes, go ahead. If you want to interpret or scream it out for them. Yeah, I still have a TV channel. Again, Ability Media Group is who I work for Quinnipiac University. You can go to the Dave Stevens Speaks YouTube page as well. There's all kinds of interviews with celebrities and stars like Rob Gronkowski, a lot of famous football players and baseball players. Mike Trout's on there, all these guys. So Dave Stevens Speaks is the YouTube channel, or Dave Stevens Speaks. You can just Google me, and like I said, there's millions of videos on YouTube of what you guys saw earlier. Interviews, great stories, all kinds of great content. And the Ability Media Group, same thing for Quinnipiac University. We're telling your stories. So if you've got great stories and you want us to come cover it, we'll come cover it. We'll do your stories. We'll come back when you guys have your festivals and things like that. Now that you're getting back to normal, if we get to have the barbecue and all those kind of things, I'd love to come back when the new building is dedicated and all those kind of things. I'm really excited. So, yes. No, unfortunately, but yet I look at it luckily. I got let go by ESPN in 2015 when they laid off 500 people. And any of you folks in wheelchairs or anything, you always hear, oh, you've got the golden ticket, you could never get fired. Well, I'm here to tell you that they didn't discriminate in this case, and they just let me go as well. But I reinvented my career. I've become a motivational speaker. Like I said, I do a lot of charity work, and you know, try to come and talk to people and just let them know, you know, look at me. In the back, yes?
Have you ever played wheelchair rugby, or would you be willing to try out for the team in the near future?
Hell no. You guys, that's a sport. That is crazy. I still like my fingers. Just, you know, the way you guys smash into that, it's just, you know, I mean, you guys don't get enough respect and props. I did start playing sled hockey recently, and I do love that. You know, it's one of those things where I myself may have had a bit of prejudice for adaptive sports because I always got off playing against the, you know, leggies and able-bodied. But to get on that ice, and once I started skating and you could see the tears just coming down my faced because I was free. I wasn't disabled. I was on the ice playing hockey, and it was just this amazing feeling. So anything I can do to help those worlds as far as that, yes, I would have done it younger, but it's too crazy, man. It's a young man's sport, and I'm 56, so I'll just watch from afar with admiration. But that's a great question. Anything else?
Dan, over here.
Yes, sir. My life keeps me in shape, just getting around. But like I said, with my reaction to the COVID shot in the last few weeks, this muscle has really shrunk, and I'm really getting scared that life is going to change if they can't fix it. They can't reattach it this time, they said, but unless they fuse it, which I can't do. But just living my life, and you saw the video. I do continue to work out and play baseball, and I played in a flag football game with Snoop Dogg at the Super Bowl this past January. So I do still try to stay active as much as I can, and I will continue to until I'm like the guy from Monty Python, when there's a Monty Python movie where they cut off a guy's arms and legs, and he's sitting there like a stump, and he's like, "Where are you going?" And he goes, "I can still bite you. Come back here." So as long as I can still bite people, I'll be doing my thing. Anything else before we go to our panel? All right, thank you guys, and we got a little bit here now. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your support. So tonight, again, you guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the transportation that you guys have. It's great, but as you know, there's problems. There's things that could be better, and our esteemed panel tonight, we have 4 people that are here. We have Josh Comenda. He's the CEO of VEO. Raise your hand. We have Patricia Cronin, who is from the Department of Social Services. We have David Bordenero, who's from McLean, Jarrett McClurg, who's from Meadowlands of Granby, and I myself, Dave Stevens, your moderator. So as we get started tonight, and again, we're going to kind of talk about, we're not here to bash, we're here to try to either find some solutions, maybe raise some awareness, and talk about some of the things. So Jared and David, I'd like to throw this out. You guys can grab the mic and talk about it. But, I want to know, for Jared and David, what has helped your organization the most when it comes to the non-emergency medical transportation? Because I know sometimes you want to get a car or van on less than 24 hours notice. But, so what have been some of the biggest challenges for you guys when you create these situations?
I can start, Jared, if you like. For us, it's really kind of timeliness. And
can you get the mic?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yep. For us, it's really timeliness and consistency, particularly on a campus of our size. We have a lot of people that we have to help getting ready for doctor's appointments and outside visits and things like that. Historically, that's been a challenge, and going back many, many years too, is that if somebody has an appointment at 10 o'clock, we're working really hard to get them ready for 9. And our campus is not right off the highway. So it takes a while to get to our campus. And there'd be hundreds of examples of where the delay in transportation resulted in a cancellation of a doctor's appointment. And then it starts all over again. So being timely and being consistent has been remarkable. And I think I have to thank Sunshine Wheels to do that.
Jarrett, what would your advice be to people?
Well, I think it's David's totally right. It's consistency and timeliness. I mean, we dedicate staff to bring patients on their appointments. So there's, we have CNAs who come off the floor to go on appointments. So it's definitely a challenge. That's one of the reasons Sunshine Wheels is so great. Is they're professional, they're well trained, they have new equipment, new vans. So you don't have to worry about an appointment when Sunshine Wheels is booked. If we have other vendors, then sometimes you worry people don't get picked up timely from their doctor's appointment. So then you're like wondering where, how come it's taking an extra 3 hours to get somebody back from an appointment. So Sunshine Wheels does a really great job with the customer service and the training with their staff. There's no doubt that's why they're number one for VEO provider.
And you touched on the technology advances. So Josh or Patricia, what are the advances and how has that helped change or improve what you guys do?
So, in the last 10, 12 years, there's been a number of technologies that have kind of emerged that have dramatically changed what's possible with transportation and logistics. We started seeing those early on in 2010, 2011 with Uber and Lyft really addressing consumer transportation and bringing more technology, transparency, tracking, accountability, but sort of observed the gap where those technologies and innovations weren't coming to NEMT and weren't coming to accessible transportation. So we began building our platform in 2015, recognizing that having GPS technology in every vehicle, having a cloud that can connect all those vehicles and see what rides are happening on time, where drivers are, where vehicles are, and then begin to create data and hold those providers accountable to pickup times, to quality rates, et cetera. Those types of things, and then also surfacing that information to stakeholders. So allowing members to access a mobile app that allows them to see a vehicle on a map and see a driver information. Members that want to opt in for text messaging can receive text messages that show alerts when a driver is arriving or allow them to communicate with their driver. And then also for healthcare providers, so allowing web portals that allow healthcare providers, front desk staff, caseworkers to be able to be part of and see and track and manage those appointments as well. That's really helped us dramatically kind of improve the quality of the network over time, see which providers are performing better, have higher on-time rates, and then hold providers accountable and create an ever-increasing standard for quality and on-time percentage.
Well, Patricia, how has the increase in telehealth and home-based things, has that helped? Has that hindered? I mean, has it been a good emerging technology to alleviate some of the problems?
So we don't actually connect the folks that have used telehealth with transportation. We don't overlap it, but as far as volume, we've had over 500,000 people access telehealth, which is way above the number of people that access transportation for Medicaid. So clearly it's been a benefit for everybody, especially during the pandemic. We've had almost 20,000 providers that have provided service. And so even if it's a transportation issue or you don't have time to hit an appointment, you can't afford to have that 20 minutes to get there, 20 minutes back, you can get your virtual appointment in. And it's been critical, I think, during the pandemic for behavioral health services.
What has been some of the biggest problems, though, for you guys? Has it been staffing? Has it been, during COVID, like we've had so many people walk away from jobs and trying to get good either volunteers or paid people to do these positions. So what are some of the biggest problems that you guys have had to overcome? All of you, each one of you, come up with something. Go ahead.
Certainly staffing's been a large challenge, not just from, in a lot of our call center staff, we saw a lot of turnover, so making sure that we can continue to answer the phones within service levels, that folks aren't waiting on hold. But then also just rebuilding the driver network. In March of 2020, just before the pandemic shutdown started, we were doing close to 14 or 15,000 trips per day, about half of those in public transit and half of those in our ambulatory wheelchair and bariatric services. In April, that number went down from 15,000 to about 6,000 or 7,000, dramatically reduced demand, and for a long period of time, the network atrophied. Providers parked vehicles, drivers quit and moved on. So for us, beginning to restart that network, rebuild capacity in a time where the labor market was extremely challenging, was a big challenge for us. Luckily, we were able to really partner closely with DSS, work really closely with our provider networks, help create incentives and special recruiting programs so that our providers can rebuild their drivers and get folks trained, help wherever we could with training, and then also allying with DOT and DMV to make sure that folks weren't getting stuck in the credentialing process and could get the necessary training and certifications to get on the road.
David?
Staffing shortages is key. I think, Carol outlined as part of the strategic plan that they are addressing workforce issues, and that's got to be part of everybody's strategic plan, no matter what program and services that you provide. We have 7 different business lines, and we're challenged in staffing in all of them. And staffing determines revenue. And so it's kind of like a catch-22. If you can't have staff, you can't fill beds, you can't provide rides, and it really is a catch-22. So staffing, very key.
Garrett?
Yeah, I think, in the skilled nursing facility world, our staffing is, our frontline nursing staff is the hardest positions to fill, especially CNAs, certified nurses assistants, and licensed nursing staff. More so is certified nursing assistants. That's the challenge. I think the younger people, it's not a field that they're going into. David and I had a conversation about, immigration laws may have impacted people going into the certified nursing field, so it's definitely a challenge.
Now, I got to ask, because this involves you guys too. You guys set your budgets and everything. We've got a war going on that has now increased gas prices dramatically. This is going to take a hit at some point when you set aside this much money for gas in a year and all your transportation. Like, how is this now, all these inflating prices, going to impact what you guys do and how you assess that?
I think, we're going to rely heavily on our friends from the state, hopefully to, acknowledge the increase in prices, and particularly a lot of the people that are served by programs like Sunshine Wheels are Medicaid and our state subsidies. So it really is important for organizations and the state to work in tandem to be sure that there's at least fair pricing or fair reimbursement.
That's great. Well, let's just hope it continues. And Patricia, I had a question kind of for you specifically, because we find out that I think it says here 5.8 million Americans delay medical care because of lack of transportation. So it's like, how has the Department of Social Services making sure that continues to do as good as you guys are doing?
Well, as Josh said, rebuilding the network has been a huge lift. But in addition to that, with our other partners, or ASOs for medical, dental, and behavioral health, one of their responsibilities is to have a network of providers throughout the state, and most preferably in this person's community, and to refer somebody who needs assistance getting a provider as close as they can. So you're not traveling 50 miles across the state for a service. The time just to travel, even if you have your own vehicle, can be a problem. So that's a big lift there, is connecting people to the right services in their community.
All right, the next question I have is one of those where, as we know with those of us in wheelchairs, that most of the time you guys are specifically set up to do certain 9 to 5-ish or things like that, but what are you guys doing to try to make advances for those that need other times or aren't always able to set up doctor's appointments on a certain time, some opening weekend hours and things like that? What advancements are you guys making as people's lives and we have changed as a society of needing to get places in a wheelchair? Garrett, you want to start? Or?
I mean, as providers, I'm not sure we're making advancements. We're plugging holes. We're relying on families. We're relying on staff, transporting them, in good, safe cars, but not maybe the best vehicles for, a wheelchair or something like that. So we're plugging holes, and so it's a real issue, I think, going forward.
Jared, do you have any?
I mean, in general, our experience is most of our appointments for our seniors are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So we're pretty much doing what the doctor's offices have their hours set for. But then we also do, if a resident needs a staff member to go with them, then we do provide that to make sure they get to the appointment safely and that type of thing.
Well, I know sometimes it gets frustrating for the bookings, but Josh, what would you tell everyone out here that sometimes gets frustrated, or they're not, they've had to, my thing isn't here, or something got canceled? Like, what would you give them as far as advice?
Well, first thing I think, kind of to your previous question, something that we really work on a lot is figuring out where in the program if we can get the ambulatory trips done more efficiently, or with our rideshare network, or work on those those efficiencies, we can then kind of work and create the right market incentives to address the accessible gaps. So whether it's evening transportation, rural transportation, whether it's getting the right number of drivers trained, we can work with the reimbursement rates to make sure that the accessible companies are getting compensated in the right way to create incentives for them to put more and better vehicles on the road and more trained drivers. So that's some of the levers we pull. The other thing I want to just, part of the process, something that we find extremely valuable as a company, and something that we spend an enormous amount of time in, is investigating complaints, failures of the system. When we transport 10 to 15,000 people a day, we know that failures happen. We do spend an enormous amount of time as a company analyzing those failures and trying to get to the systemic root of it. How do we tamp that down and get that defect rate lower and lower and lower? So it is valuable to file a complaint when something goes wrong. We do study that, and it's a huge part of iterating on it and trying to get better and better at it.
Now, forgive me for not knowing everything. Are you guys app-based at all? Can you book your things on an app? Is it like Uber or any of those? They can set up their appointments and stuff for them?
We take reservations through a number of different channels. The largest is our call center still, but we also have what we call our Ride View program, which is set up in hundreds of healthcare facilities in Connecticut, that allows front desk staff, caseworkers, other staff members to book and manage transportation for members. And we also do have a member-facing app, which is a newer program, but it's like an Uber, Lyft type experience that allows a member to check, verify eligibility and benefits, describe the type of ride they need, and then make sure that ride gets booked.
And we all know the frustrations with Lyft and Uber when they see us in a wheelchair and they just keep driving away. They won't pick us up. I've always said that I'm Goober. I'm a gimpy Uber, because I'm driving my kids around all the time, and I wanted to market that as like a service for people. But what you guys are doing is great, and I just want to continue to thank you guys for what you're continuing to do, especially in this day and age. I think we underappreciate, how important it is to get around, to get to church, to get to the doctors, to go see a friend and a relative. So I really appreciate what all you guys are doing for all of the affiliates that are a part of this. So thank you guys. And do you guys want to open it up for questions or anything? Did you want to have them ask questions, or did anyone in the audience want to? You think they test 1, 2? I think you're up.
Hello?
No?
Testing? Yeah? Okay. I did want to encourage you, because I know we had a conversation, Dave, about, and you started it a little bit. I think we have progressed, although there's still more work to do with non-emergent medical transportation. But I think we had a conversation, you mentioned how, if I go out to a UConn game in Hartford and then go to a restaurant or a bar afterwards and need a ride home at 11 or 12 o'clock at night, I can call Uber, right? If
they just can't get us in their car.
If someone who has a large wheelchair or whatever cannot do that. So I think the point is, we know that's the fact right now, and certainly can't access transportation in an affordable manner, right? So I think, the takeaway of the discussion to continue, we're addressing some of the basic issues, and of course, getting to medical appointments is absolutely critical. It's not a luxury, it's critical. But I think the topic to take away is, what about the rest of one's life? What about being able to access things at night, on weekends,
movie,
etc.?
dinner, anything, yeah.
And at the Village, we do have some transportation. We have recreational transportation. There's limitations within a 15-mile radius. And now with driver shortages and gas prices, obviously that impacts it. But we do have that. Most communities do not have that at all. So, what are the options going forward? I think it's a topic to be discussed at the state level. I think it's a topic to be discussed, within the business community, and certainly within the disability community. So I think this is something that needs to be continued. We're moving in the right direction, but I think others can attest to it more than I can even, that there's a long way to go.
Absolutely. Comments, thoughts on that for you guys? I mean, is there a way we can get better at doing some of the non-medical and things like that?
I mean, the more today I've learned, I mean, and Ocrity has helped, loop me in about Sunshine Wheels, the more I've learned today, and I'm just, so impressed, and huge kudos and congratulations, and we're extremely proud to have you in the network.
Well, I think we just need to broaden what we all do, and so more conversations to come. Thank you, Dave. I know I'm inspired and motivated to do more, be better. I'm pretty sure everybody in this room probably feels similarly. Appreciate your coming here. I know you're down the road, but you have an insanely busy schedule. So it really meant a lot to us to have you here.
Well, thank you very much.
And the same to
So
the panel.
worthwhile.
Great job. Thank you so much. Josh, I know you flew in from California. The rest of you guys are, next door, but thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Gerard. I'm on the board. This is my ninth year on the board, my ninth annual meeting, and I really have to say this is easily the best annual meeting that we've ever had. Like, with all the substantive discussions and the panel and Dave, that was really great. We really have I think we have a new model for our annual meeting, and we'll end it with prizes, so you can't go wrong there. And then I will invite my fellow board members. Everyone else will be excused, and I'll invite my fellow board members to have a quick board meeting where we'll wrap up a few things, but nobody else needs to stick around for that. So thanks, everybody. This organization is in the best spot that it's been in the 16 years that I've been involved and the 9 years I've been on the board. So now, without any more ado, I'm looking at the list. I don't see my name, so we're going to have to redraw these. But all right, I guess we'll start with the big two, the big ticket items. Red Sox games. This feels like a conflict of interest. I don't know. Rob Nevers, our board secretary, is going to a Red Sox game on Memorial Day. And thanks to everybody, of course, who donated these. And our overnight stay at Mohegan Sun, Billy Chevette is the winner of that one. I apologize if I mispronounce any of these names. I'll do my very best, I promise. Travelers Championship tickets coming up June 22nd. Bob Dobrow, sorry, like I said. Hartford, this is the one I put all of my tickets in. Hartford Flavor Company Distillery Private Tasting Room. Pam O'Neill stole that from me. It says it's up to 10 people, so just a thought. Thomas Hooker Brewery, another hobby of mine, beer. And Schaefer Reed, our new board member, if she wants any help with that. We've got a couple of Yard Goats for tickets. First, John, our Cherry Brook administrator, John Cesaro. Congratulations. Enjoy the game. And the other one is Joe Kuzda. And then that's another 4 tickets. And then we got the New Britain Bees and Schaefer Reed again. And that is any game based on availability, 4 tickets. Tickets to Dirks Bentley, Ashley McBride, and Travis Denning. Steph Tetro. I'll keep my commentary to a minimum, just read these. Number 10, Naomi Jewelry Sterling Silver Earrings, Robert Stores. Number 11, Long Wharf Theater, 2 tickets for the production of Queen, Maria Pyman. And Seven Angels Theater in Waterbury, 2 tickets. to use through this year. Deb Schaefer. Wheeler Regional Family YMCA 3-month family membership. Ann Schaefer Reed again, bought a lot of tickets, or is very lucky. Fitness, Anytime Fitness 1-month membership with 4 semi-private coaching sessions, a yoga mat, a water bottle, John Cesaro. The Vera Bradley gift basket, nautical theme, Carol Fitzgerald. Bob's Furniture, $100 gift card, Kat Griffith. ShopRite of Bristol, Italian basket, Greg Coca. Big Y, $50 gift card, Pam O'Neill. And lastly, Wooden Tap, I like those guys too, $25 gift card, Joni Stang. So, thanks everybody who bought raffle tickets. Thanks everybody who came. Thanks everybody who supports New Horizons in any way that you do, whether it's the Village, Cherrybrook, Middlebury. Thanks so much for coming, and those of you who joined online. And we'll adjourn the meeting, the annual meeting, for one more year, and see you next year. We'll check out the newly finished buildings, I'm sure, next year, and invite the board for a brief board meeting. Thanks, everybody.